own weed. And if you see anyone snooping around the house, to call the police immediately. And I didn't find anybody who was against that. They were happy to know what was going on. Because I invited them and I said, come and look what I'm doing. And I'm proud of my garden. So, again, you know, the permit works well. Anyone else? Yeah, go ahead.
Another thing to consider is that a lot of medical users are really badly affected by stress. Their illnesses can be greatly aggravated, so by having the security of that license, not having to worry, and there are also people who, if they wound up in jail, they might eventually win the case, but it's going to take a terrible toll on their health. And if marijuana really helps them, they're not going to have that marijuana in jail.
And that's what I'm just saying with the claim. If you go to a couple doctors, and as he was mentioning earlier, they continually reject you for no just cause other than they don't want to get themselves involved.
I know two free men who've been in jail in the last year with their claim were right.
And the due
Bud
diligence
Oracle, Mark
will judge.
Yeah, but the Oracle,
you know,
but why?
Absolutely.
But the Oracle in jail.
I mean, that shows that you've done your part. I mean, the
So
system
there's
can't
a bit of a difference
keep up to
between
speed,
using
get
it
under
and
control.
selling it.
Hey, I'll go ahead and come up here.
Well, what about the people who don't have a medical condition?
Everybody needs relief from something. If you think hard enough, actually, you know what I tell people? I say, you go home and smoke a joint and think about it, and you'll come up with something.
The problem I'm talking about, you say the medical condition.
I think for the woman back there who thinks she's never tried it herself, when you come home from a hard job and you have one or two martinis, after about an hour you have another one, after an hour and a half you're finally feeling a buzz, you've already put down 500 calories, where dope takes 2 puffs, you're there 45 seconds, 0 calories. It's a great application.
Well, there's medical evidence out there saying that it's otherwise might be cannabinoid deficient. So it could be said that it's actually being proactive in good health to use cannabis.
Well, I think so.
That we all need some. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, my concern is when I was in jail for food, I didn't mix pot. People ask me, "Do you miss pot?" No, not particularly. I was really healthy in jail, and a lot of that's mental discipline. But the thing is, I'm worried about my mother died of Alzheimer's, and she wouldn't smoke pot no matter how much I told her to. And I'm actually worried about that. My mind is something very valuable to me, and the fellow getting Alzheimer's freaks me out. And the onset of Alzheimer's starts around 52, my age, to 54. So I'm nervous about that. And yet, if I were not permitted to smoke marijuana, that's my biggest concern, is that I'm going to develop a hereditary illness much more rapidly than if I'm allowed to smoke pot.
Yeah, and my girlfriend's sister is going through that right now, so with Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
And she never smoked pot, and again, my girlfriend's happy that she does.
Not a single person has ever gotten Alzheimer's who continues to smoke marijuana daily. Nowhere on this planet is it documented. And there's nothing else like it. There's about 15 studies that show marijuana is very good in stopping. It doesn't reverse, but it will stop.
Preventative medicine.
It's preventative. It prevents the onset.
You do recreate brain cells in cannabis, but they haven't been able to apply it to Alzheimer's.
Yes.
It'd be wonderful if it was legal so we could actually get some serious research.
Of course.
That's why I want to legalize. I don't smoke it, but I keep hearing about it, and I keep thinking, if only we knew.
But actually,
It's a waste of resources to keep it illegal, really.
There's serious research going on right now, and has been for years.
Of course,
and
it's suppressed.
evidence, but you know, you can find that information.
Where is it? Where's the
Oh, Google Alzheimer's and cannabis, you'll get 15 studies on cancer.
That's one thing. That's
Oh no, they're all like that though. It's amazing how much cannabis is studied.
You can look up MS.
I'll send you sites, Joanne. I'll send you some sites.
Yeah.
And showmethefacts.org has a huge collection of medical studies from every type of cancer.
Yeah.
Anyone else have any other questions or something to say? Yeah.
I would imagine that one of the reasons that the medical profession wouldn't support cannabis is that you got to smoke it. It doesn't really work well if you eat it, it takes a long time and then it drags into the next day. So maybe quality has something to do with the approach, like, you're going to try to apply, tell them they've got access to something like bubble hash or honey roll. Do you think that's a good idea? Should we be promoting higher quality?
Yeah, I agree with that completely. See, unfortunately, Health Canada is only going to deal right now with the cannabis itself. And it clearly states, even in my permit, that no extracts, no hash or oils, which is kind of contradictory because I got my doctor to up my dosage because I told him I've been making more butter. And this is what we sent into Health Canada, and they sent me back the okie dokie telling me that I'm not supposed to do it. So go figure. You can see how up to speed they are. But of course, it is much better to bubble hash, like you say, or edibles or things, because you're using less. Again, now the smoking thing is the biggest opposition I've come up with doctors. And again, so we just say, well, we're using a vaporizer, a volcano, and right away you take that argument away from the whole smoking issue. But one of the pluses on the side of smoking to your doctor is that you can titrate your dosage. So sometimes 2 puffs, you can put that joint out, and you're good to go. So you don't have to feel that you've used too much and now you're groggy, sleepy, or whatever. And explain that to your doctor, because most of them have never heard of such a thing. That, I just have a couple puffs, put it out, and you just don't get it. And of course, that also depends on how good the cannabis is in the first place. Anybody else? Yes?
What's the difference between medical marijuana and just marijuana? How it's classified?
Well, medical would be legal, I guess, if you want to put it that way, or just of higher quality, as opposed to street dirt weed shag, as opposed, just quality that's been grown well, flushed properly, organic in a lot of cases.
Do you grow? Can you tell us how you flush properly? Get that, get those.
Yeah, just stop feeding 2 weeks before harvest and just keep throwing water through it until it comes out clear and clean. And a good way to tell if the weed is flushed properly is it should burn down to a white ash and be very soft feeling, no grit to it at all. If it's black and crusty and doesn't burn, the weed's not flushed properly.
Well, one thing I found that really helped, I've used marijuana for 30-some years, just for recreational purposes, but I moved in to take care of my father rather than put him into a care home. And I spent the last 6 years of his life taking care of him. And I found that coming out of the closet, when the health nurse came and said, do you need help? Do you need respite? How are you coping? I would say, big bag of pot, the neighbors. All the neighbors were elderly. They were growing it for me because they understood how important it was to keep my dad out of the home. So just to be open and honest with people and say, yeah, I smoke. Yeah, I'm a DEFLA student. Yeah, I volunteer for cancer. Let them know that that's not all of who